During pick-and-place operation, components are placed on the board, and then the connection will be made in the reflow soldering process. The solder paste melts during this process and cools down again to create a good solder joint. In TFM Polybatam, the series of the reflow soldering machine is Reflow Oven Samsung SRFI 7092 with this specification. Okay, next, let's check what are the parts of this machine. To open up the cap, you should turn on the CDA and open the door. And then hold the handle to the left to open up the cap and then back it to the center. Now we can see inside of the reflow machine. These are long convection ovens with 9 heating zones that together create a soldering cycle. Each heating zones have 2 heaters, upper heater and lower heater. Each heating zone of the oven has a regulated temperature set by the Reflow soldering profile based on datasheet of the solder paste for the assembly process. After heating zones, there is cooling zone to make the melted solder paste being a solid solder paste. And every zone has upper blower and lower blower to spread the heat in the chamber. PCB will be running in the chamber on the conveyor. We can adjust the conveyor based on the width of the PCB, and there is a support conveyor to prevent the PCB being curved when it passes the heating zones that place behind the center of PCB. And there is a sensor to detect the length of the PCB. When the length of input and output isn't consistent, the buzzer will be ringing. Next, there is monitor. We can adjust the temperature of each heating zones and the speed of the conveyor by the monitor. Moreover, from the monitor, we can see the temperature on the chamber and the target's temperature, the conveyor speed, and if the machine is operating, we can see the position of the PCB on the chamber. The most important part is the datasheet of the solder paste that we use in printing machine. From the datasheet, we know the melting point and liquidus of the solder paste to get a good solder joint. Last, we turn on the machine, switch it down and turn on the blower button of the reflow machine on the panel.
How to calibrate the machine based on the datasheet. The function of calibrating the reflow machine is to get a good solder joint. The temperature of the chamber isn't equal to the temperature of the PCB in the chamber. So that's why we should calibrate the temperature of the machine to get a good solder joint by a sweet reflow profile. The important things to prepare is TMR application. It used to help you creating the graphic of the target temperature of your solder paste profile reflow. For using the application, you need to prepare first datasheet of your solder paste. From the datasheet, we get the reflow profile to fill the data in the application. Second, you should check and measure the length of every zones in the chamber. Start from the labyrinth, heating zones, and cooling zones. Third, you should prepare data logger. Data logger will save the detected data. It records the temperature of the PCB in every chamber zones. And then, it will describe the result by a graphic. Data logger has 2 cables, the cap and USB cable. The 2 cables are thermostable. It will record the temperature of PCB in the chamber, and the data logger is protected by the cap. Next, the USB cable is used to extract the recorded data to computer. Next, let's simulate calibrating the reflow machines using the datasheets of solder paste SEC307. First, make the target temperature of the solder paste profile reflow by a graphic using TMR application.
Click Open Oven Setting and then
Fill up the data of every zone's length.
After that, click Advanced Next.
Next, fill up the graphic based on the datasheet. From the datasheet, we know the range of the slope is 0.5 to 2 degrees Celsius per second. You can fill it up based on the range, and then fill the start temperature of preheat zones and range temperature of peak zones. Fill the time of every zone. Next, we will get a conveyor speed recommendation and we get the graphic of target temperature. Connect the cable to the PCB using bolts and nuts or soldering the cables. In this video, we are using bolts and nuts. And then, connect the cables to the data logger and then close the cap to protect the data logger. Put the data logger on the center of the PCB and make sure there is no cables out of the PCB to prevent the cables being burnt. Let's move to the Reflow machine. Open the TSM application. Then click Login and enter the username and the password. Then we click Run and click Manual. After that, we click Setup. And then input the parameter based on the target temperature and fill the conveyor speed with the conveyor speed recommendation that we got before. After we save the data of the temperature, click Run and click Auto. Then the machine will automatically hitting the zones with the temperature that we input. And now we wait until the temperature reaches the specified temperature. After the temperature reaches the target, the machine is ready to operate. But before that, we need to adjust the table as a place before the entrance of the PCB into the Reflow machines. Make sure it is not too narrow and not too loose. Open the cap and turn on the data logger. When it shows the green light, that means the data logger is ready to measure the temperature. Close the cap back. And put the PCB to the attachment table. Push the PCB slowly to help the PCB going into the Reflow machine. On the computer screen, you will see the movement of the PCB board inside the machine through each zone until it reaches the cooling zone. Use hand glove to take the PCB out from the machine because the data logger in the PCB has passed the high temperature and it becomes hot to touch. When the PCB almost going out, wait and take the PCB out from the machine. Bring the PCB and data logger to computer. Open the case and take out the data logger. Then, plug the USB cable from the monitor to the data logger. Then we put the hot data logger and the case into the blower to make it cooler. In TMR application, click Reception. Then it will show the graphic of measurement temperature from the data logger. We can see the graphic is out of the range from the target. In the corner of the graphic will show NG or not good. So we need a second try to calibrate to get a good temperature setting to get the target temperature. Take out the data logger when it feels not hot anymore and the data logger is ready to be used again. Bring the PCB back to the adjustment table and change the setup of the machine. From the graphic, we know that the graphic from data logger is lower than the target, so we need to make the temperature higher than the temperature before and increase the speed of the conveyor. Save the new setup, click Run and click Auto. Turn on the data logger and push the PCB slowly into the reflow machine. In the computer screen, it showed the PCB almost going out from the machine. Open the case of data logger. And plug the USB cable. Don't forget to put it in the blower. Then we click Reception. At the second try, we can see the graphic is increased than before, and the corner of the graphic we see OK. That means the graphic is in the range of the target temperature. And after finish the production, we need to login back, and then we click Run and click Auto Stop. Then we need to wait for 1 hour for the machine to turn off. Close back the cap of the machine.